I gotta wait 4 seconds. It is now 6 p.m. and we've established a quorum. I'm going to go ahead and begin their meeting. Start with their invocation. I'd like to bow their heads with me. Father God, we thank you for the opportunity to come together tonight to hear the needs of the town, to make good decisions, use your wisdom and discernment as we make these decisions. We ask that you give us patience, grace, and compassion. In your name, move to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So our first order of business is the adoption of the agenda. And I think Stuart, you did say we need adjustment on the bill pay list.
Correct. The VML Mako payment, we received a credit for $375, so that amount lowers to $5,040.
Does that happen here? I thought that happened on consent agenda items.
Is that when you do it as in the consent agenda?
I think so.
That is just, I think should be consent agenda because it's within the consent agenda. Are there any adoptions to the current agenda? Minutes. A motion to move to adopt the agenda. Any discussion? No more. And the agenda, we will be making the update of the $375 credit under the email / Baco finance.
Did anyone check to see why the sewage was so high?
What means you see the flow? I don't need that bill.
Okay, usually run. In this town.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll get into it. I'll hold it down and see what the flow meters at and all that.
water looks a little high too.
Yeah, we
I
did.
put-
Anything on that.
Just saying. We did have a lot of rain in the last month.
That should,
That should be
yes, more nutrition. That should.
okay. I didn't know if there's potentially any of that.
The water's high because of the cement, and I think that would end up being 100,000 pounds.
Yeah,
About that's on.
I understand that the sewer.
Yeah, for birds water.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions or discussion on the consent agenda?
Move to approve the consent agenda, with the $370 credit, 370 and change credit for the BML vehicle finance.
Mr. McPhee. Or Mr. Henry. Mr. Craig.
Or.
Mr. Rochelle.
Or.
Ms. Hart.
We're gonna move into our next section, which is this is the section of the council meeting that provides citizens an opportunity to discuss which are not listed on the agenda. This section should state the name, address, and state that everything to discuss and what action they would like for council to take. The creator, if required, council will respond within writing and typically within the 30 days begin. But we just ask that the comments be limited to 3 minutes or less. Do we have anyone that signed up? Do we have anyone that would like to? All right, I'm going to go ahead and move into our next section, which is the comments and discussion by members of town council.
A lot of effort went into it, and we've got some weather going on there, but it pulled through and we're good. Thank you.
Big thank you to our staff and chief on July 4th. They absolutely knew that happened. The EDA, it was a big group. Okay.
I have a couple of comments. One is I came back into town the other night and noticed that the lights that are on top of the town sign, you can't read the sign. All you see is a white shadow highlight at the top foot of the sign. You have no idea what that makes sense. So those lights either need to be moved to the bottom and point up, or we need something else out there because it's not working. I also have a comment that I heard. I've been gone for a couple of weeks, so I apologize. But there seems to be, apparently, there was some discussion, and I have not been to the meeting, so forgive me, regarding possible elimination of the police department, which has made it out to the public. And I was questioned as to why we could tolerate the lights at Tanner being stolen, the robberies at Countryside or break-ins, attempted break-ins at Countryside, the attempted break-ins at some of the residences we had had, and talk about getting rid of the police department. I would like to remind everybody that the police department is in our charter. And but wherever this came from, it's out on the street now. So I don't know what happened. I just heard it actually yesterday. Is well,
Nice entrance right here to enter town hall. It's not available for public use. Don't know what the reasoning for that was. Years ago when town hall was renovated, the doors were obviously closer to the administrative offices rather than having the public walk through the art center and all that. And that is something we should address. No, I'm sorry.
So I want to thank Mr. Larry for tracking down the issue on the water tower. And I would like to say, I can't remember if Mr. Gilbreth sold CVA Link or if he still owned it when it closed. But it would probably be a good idea to try to track down the last owners and try to see if we can get them to get either pay somebody or pay us, get the equipment off that. I think it's a liability sitting on the tower like that. That equipment can fall off, do something, got a train track right there. And we got cars parking in the alleyway, got business owners who have assets in there. And so that could be, because if it's sitting there with no attention at all, it's rusting or whatever. I don't know what all the materials are up there. And I know I've brought this up before, but I checked the website today and we still have the progressive language on the website. I think that's politically charged. I don't support that, and I wouldn't support our website saying conservative either. So I don't know who's in charge of the website and who makes decisions about how the website is presented, but I suggest that it's just a political statement. That's just all there is to it. And I think we should try to avoid that if we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The alleyway, out is water tower. Needs a lot of work. Grass is overnight in some areas and stuff. We're asking people to park back there. Out. It's not being maintained. So we need to get that cleaned up. And it's not actually ours. So it's someone else's, but she lets us use it for public parking. But if we're gonna do it, we need to have it clean and straight for people to be able to use it. And get her permission to make sure we can do that. The whole alleyway needs straightening up again. And, the backs of the buildings, weeds going up on and stuff. If I was a single lady, I wouldn't want to park back there and have to walk through there. Bad it looks. So I think we need to get it cleaned up. And one other thing, talking about parking. It's not long before the final contract comes up on Crosby's. That's parking for it. Maybe we need to start talking to the owner, negotiate. It or whatever, so we can continue using that. That's probably parking.
Any other comments? Okay, we will go ahead and move into old business, which is our discussion and action on the organizational flow chart.
Turn to your packet, please, for the proposed staff organizational chart. Personnel committee met to discuss the chart. The chart they agreed to is the latest version in there. My apology. Anyway, they didn't communicate that correctly. The original one in your packet is not the one that the personnel committee wants, but I believe the most recent one is correct. One you have
The one that's in here.
correct.
Yeah, that was correct.
The one behind it is not correct. It's the most recent one on top.
Okay.
So the only changes since the last meeting, when this came up, the only substantive changes are that the treasurer is a direct report to the town manager, but will take direction from the deputy town manager, town clerk, as requested by the town manager. The deputy clerk does report to the deputy manager clerk, and the deputy treasurer reports to the treasurer. All the public works workers roll up under the authority of the public works director. So I would recommend that we approve the this chart, most recent one, and one that I got on the cover letter, as reflective of your wishes.
Any discussion?
Right now, we have no paying staff. So is the deputy town manager gonna serve doing the zoning reviews and that kind of stuff? How are we handling that aspect? If we're going all this trouble to update the org chart, where is the person that will be reviewing the zoning and the planning?
That falls under my duties. In fact, with the previous council, I was appointed the zoning administrator. It may have been put in the
I
chart.
think in the charter, and it was listed, like the duties were under the
Right.
job descriptions.
So I am definitely the zoning administrator. Right now, reviewing a number of zoning plans, coming to me, and, that's me.
Well, unfortunately, I don't have a problem with it. It's just that you have way too much responsibility. Sorry.
Uh,
I don't know how you do it all. I don't know how you can. But that's the only reason I'm asking.
Well,
But that's it.
I appreciate that, and that is why I asked for a deputy, because covering such a broad array, I can only do things superficially, and that's where I make clerical mistakes. And so by having a deputy, I think that will assist greatly.
I'm okay, but I'll go with it. But I just have a problem with one person or whatever having two titles. It didn't work before. When town manager left and left the treasurer duties to another person that was treasurer and or deputy treasurer. And it didn't work great. And if this person leaves now, how hard of a time we're gonna find someone that can place and do both. Just it concerns me. And just want to put it out there. We're a small town and that's the best we can do.
Any other discussion? We have a motion in a second. We'll go ahead and call.
Mr. Craig,
Four.
Mr. Purcell,
Four.
Ms. Hart,
Or
Ms. Rigsby,
for
Mr. Henry.
Four.
We'll move to our new business. First item is discussion and action on updating the planning commission pay code section.
Right. So, bear with me, please, in your packet. This is an ordinance amendment, work with the town attorney. The town code states that the planning commission, the current town code states that planning commission members are volunteers without pay. Checked with the treasurer since 2003, the town has been paying the PC members $450 biannually. The pay is, I checked it, is in the budget for that amount. So we need to clean up the code so it reflects current policy. Town attorney's recommended change is attached. Right now, the language says all members of town planning commission shall serve as such without compensation. Well, this isn't how it's been occurring. Town council may, in its discretion, in accordance with state law, authorize and appropriate compensation to be paid to the planning commission members for their service, and may adopt policy related to such compensation. So I would recommend that the code be amended to reflect current policy.
And I would like to just add, I know that we had found some minutes. It wasn't that the town just decided to start paying the planning commission. It appears that this was discussed and voted upon like prior to 2003. And that ordinance just did not make it into the E code section to be updated. So we're just kind of cleaning up what was already done as a town in bringing it to date.
Second.
Question?
Why did we not change the sections of the mayor that because they're also incorrect?
Well,
That, I don't, would we talk about that if that's not on the agenda tonight?
That is only, if we're changing the code of one, why don't we just, is there a reason we only address one? That's the question.
this is an issue before us that needs to be cleaned up. I can look at that if you wish, but this is for the planning commission is egregious amendment when we're in fact paying people when the code says that we're not. So we'll take a. This is a priority.
So I guess my assumption would be that we're going to, in the future meeting, have this done for the other positions.
Any areas of the code anyone thinks are not up to date, just let me know.
Any other discussion? Call roll.
Mr. Purcell.
Four.
Ms. Hart. Mr. Ivy. Mr. Henry. Mr. Craig.
Okay, makes sense. Right, we'll move to our next item, which is a discussion and action on the payroll consultant.
All right, so let me just hit this with some bullet points. You have the background in the packet. The treasurer requested the consultant to reconcile July 20, including journal entries, withholdings, Virginia retirement system, unpaid reconciliation to the general ledger, and employee status changes. We have a consultant with treasury experience, backgrounds in the packet, who can reconcile these accounts, correct monthly report, operating procedures. What happens when people leave an organization without SOPs? To understand the process, and you have to learn it from scratch. So we need to professionalize this with SOPs. The agreement is in the agenda packet. Excuse me, the original proposal was open-ended. We discussed this in the finance committee, which recommended initial term of 3 months and a not to exceed amount of $5,000. Prior to the conclusion of the 3 months, the consultant will meet with the town manager to determine the scope and extent of the issues. And if they are resolved within 3 months, then we're done. Or if any additional time is needed. The consultant, I'm going to be more hands-on on this one, trust me, and be working with this on a weekly basis and get y'all monthly reports, okay? And that's to the line item. We can, I don't think we need to get into that tonight, really. We can discuss it at the August 11th Finance Committee meeting. We talked to the auditor who has a recommendation. That will give us ample time to put it on the August 18th agenda. This will, I've looked at the schedule, allow the consultant to be paid in timely fashion. Excuse me. Given that her start date is August 3rd. So I think the pieces would all fit together if we start, if we just talk about that at finance committee and bring up the auditor's recommendation. Does that make sense?
So the recommendation is to agree to the contract with the consultant, with the understanding that the finance committee will review on the August 11th meeting what line item it will come from, or potentially recommend creation of a new line item, then approval by council at August 18th. But because of the start date for the consultant, her pay would not be delayed as long as it moves in that process. To, to, to secure the consultant.
Correct.
Okay.
So the recommendation is to approve the contract. As to the line item, we can discuss that at finance.
Question. Did we discuss this in the finance committee already?
We discussed the payroll consultant and discussed the contract. We have not discussed the budget line item, whether that's gonna have to be moved from one line to another. That has not been discussed, as he indicated.
And my question revolves around, how did we come up with a person already? Did we like advertise for that? I mean, how did we get to, we already have a person and we have a salary, $50 an hour? And maybe it's because there people that did this stuff, $50 an hour is kind of high for someone who is used to a different software system. We don't use Excel. We don't use the two software systems that are quoted in the package here. So that's my question. Is that appropriate for someone who has different software experience for the stuff that we're asking?
I want to look at the resume.
I did read it. That's why.
I think she has
Did not
experience
work.
with VA.
She doesn't have to be out of this, so that's why I'm asking.
Well, she's been on the with finding that errors and have fixed some corrections. I will be the one inputting it in the
It's really more the process of how this should go and then researching in the system.
The technical skills.
Yes.
In the payroll and treasury piece of it, not necessarily the system itself that is going to be utilized. But she does also have experience with importing to a new software as well.
The hourly rate is much lower than the VML rate. The VML rate was 130 an hour. This is 50%. This person had local government experience in a small town. A lot of experience, bookkeeping experience, 10 years of bookkeeping experience, working with payroll, working in a small town environment. Has an educational background in it. To find a perfect fit, I think it's important, urgent. And the other thing is I'm going to be more hands-on with this now. I've got more time. I'm going to make sure that I get a diagnosis of what the problem is. It could be a minor problem. It could be more extensive. I'll know very quickly if it's satisfactory.
I guess my final question is, so is this 4 to 6 months the maximum amount of time? It sounds like not exactly sure, except we know that few weeks is not sufficient. So that's the last.
Well, that's why it's not open-ended. There's a 3-month period. There's also a termination within 30 days notice. So I just need to see someone give me a diagnosis of the scope of the adjustments and reconciliations that need to occur. And I'll report back if I think this person can handle it. Not, I'll give you a report.
The term of the contract indicates a 3-month initial term with a return to council if additional time is needed.
I calculated 1 month and base you have to go with the highest spot. So it's up to 20 hours a week at $50 an hour for time. 4,000 a month, 3 months, so it's, that's why I'm asking. But other than that, that's the finance committee, I believe that's what they wanted to do.
Where do you get the 20 hours per week? That's into 12 hours per week.
So it would be just under, would be $300 less.
Okay. The contract states it's not to exceed $5,000 right now. So we find out how much goes. Right, have it.
Yeah, that's what threw me, the $5,000 would, get used up. That's why I was asking them to at that pay rate. But, that's it, that's all I have.
Any other questions or discussion?
I move we proceed with the proposal by the town manager to authorize the contract so we can get this done and figure out where we are up to the $5,000. We'll figure out the line item later. But we have the money.
Second.
Any discussion?
You said we got money back, being for work that we want by them.
It's not that simple. It's not in the budget this year. However, of the original 40,000 with the credits that are negotiated, we'll have savings of $3,250 from the original contract. So technically, if we hit the 5,000 mark, we would go another about 1,600 more than the original contract. But Ms. Rigsby pointed out, it's not in the budget, so it dropped the fund balance. So the real question is, going forward, and we've got to move forward. How are we going to pay for this, which we can determine at the finance.
You know, we had it only for call citizens $1,600 because we're getting
$3,256.
get that.
Yeah. So
We do a motion, right?
We have a motion and a second. You ready to call roll?
Ms. Hart,
I think you just restate the motion, please.
to allow the town manager to approve the contract up to $5,000 and to approve the line item.
Yeah.
Mr. Ruby, four. Mr. Henry,
Four.
Mr. Craig,
Four.
Mr. Purcell.
Four.
Motion passes. We'll move to the next item, which is discussion and action on the bill pay policy. Deputy Town Manager, would you like to take the floor?
Sure, so, this policy was presented in hopes to, combat some challenges that staff have, such as lacking in additions to the improvement package. Bills coming in late, like our after a meeting and then having to wait a whole other cycle. Point and giving you guys a limited prior amount of time to review those policies. Staff recommendation to the finance committee was a hybrid process where you guys would allow staff in correlation to our our policy handbook, to approve bills in that alignment. So, myself, I can approve up to 2,500, Stuart can approve up to 5,000. But anything larger than that, or if that would be a capital expenditure, would be presented to council for your approval. And, way to keep council informed, we will be submitting report, the treasurer will be submitting a report, a weekly report of bills that were approved to pay. That was a recommendation to the finance committee. And ultimately, I believe, I don't want to speak for them, but I believe that would be their recommendation.
That's correct. Finance committee did recommend.
So. With doing this, like say, if you pay credit card bill, you're gonna have documentation showing each line item you're paying.
Yes, we will. The credit card bill is kind of off because we have to wait for the statements to reconcile that, so that will still be a monthly bill that. So for approval, and that's something to discuss too, about eventually increasing that limit. Just if you want to, oh, maybe you might talk about it a little bit later. The- But just for record retention, we were retaining all the document bills that we normally would, and credit report would show you which line items.
Is there a motion? I move to approve the bill pay policies presented.
Second.
Any additional discussion?
Mr. Rigby,
Or
Mr. Henry,
Or,
Mr. Craig,
or,
Mr. Purcell,
or.
Ms. Hall.
All right, we're gonna move into the standing committee reports. We'll start with Public Works. That's committee, not staff yet. And then he was like, what?
We met and discussed, paying the bill for shot. And, it seems like it's pretty legit, so we recommend bring it to the council to get approved. Well, that's basically it.
Move to public safety.
We have not met, but we probably should meet and have a meeting in the near future.
Finance.
Madam Chair, we did meet, we recommended to council that the new bill pay policy, which we've already discussed. We recommended to council the payroll consultant, which has already been discussed. We also reviewed expenses that were identified during the budget process, to investigate specifically to address cost cutting measures such as telephone, copier, IT services. Recurring topic of the internet service and the speed of the internet service was identified as it affects your telephone and your IT services. So the committee recommended to switch to Firefly. We have minimal to no budget impact, but significantly increase our faster connectivity speed, and also to possibly see if that's available for the police department as well. Coming up on the agenda for the next meeting, I know already we want to look at the CIP process that we put out of CIP budget, as well as discussing the Meadow Avenue project.
Exciting. We are getting Firefly. It's been a long time coming. Moving to personnel.
Madam Mayor, we met a couple weeks ago. We had a very, I thought, valuable discussion back and forth with the town manager about processes and leadership and things like that. And then we also went into executive session or private session, discussing matters. And I believe we're going back in later on this evening and may have more to report on that later. But I thought it was a very positive meeting with the town manager, and hopefully it has positive effects going forward.
The community development and events.
We got the back to school deal coming up, and that's gonna be a big deal. You want to look down the screen?
Chick will let me do that, but we are gonna close down Court Square. All of Court Square and behind it, correct? And we also have National Night Out coming up on Tuesday. 4th.
Yeah.
I was saying, Fallon has done a great job. He's gotten a lot of participation there. And then the community's super excited. We're gonna have maybe some music from a familiar face. And some food trucks, which you know I can always get down with.
August 4th.
August 4th is a Tuesday,
What time?
5 to 8. And then yes, August 8th, the back to school block party that is kicking off to be a success already. Got school participation and local business participation. It'll be a great event. Very excited about it.
We're gonna have companies there that are gonna try to recruit.
Yes. Roger had a brilliant idea to have a job and workforce section for the older teens to connect the CTE process with the career opportunities that kids can have, specifically into like HVAC, electrician, plumbing services, things like that. So we can maybe have Public Works have a table. Just sounds like Anthony is gonna have, our new director of Public Works will have a table recruiting.
And sunglasses and jets.
Yes, I would love that, to have, just getting kids and not just kids, but their parents could be looking for opportunities too. So having that whole workforce section, I'm really excited about that piece of it. And we're working with Bo with CTE, so it'll be great.
By the way, what is swag actually?
Well, the stuff you hand out.
I thought it was a good
Acronym.
Bracelets, glasses, all of these. Cemeteries committee,
No meeting, however, the deputy manager reported to me that she did discuss with the insurance company. I do not know what the additional cost was, but we didn't go that far in the discussion, so we're going to call a meeting so that we give a report at the next council meeting. But he did find that our insurance would cover the columbariums already, so we may be able to look at the pricing after that. How much that insurance will cost us is what I'm not 100% sure of yet.
okay, and then intergovernmental relations.
Me, no report.
Now we'll move on to reports from staff. We start with police chief.
It's hard. Thank you for sharing the information you have learned in the public. Shared earlier, it's disheartening to learn of that information that's making its way in public and other law enforcement entities. As our recruitment efforts are ongoing and continue, it's particularly concerning about the information that may be out there as far as recruitment efforts go. The truth be told, we had 3 excellent candidates about 30 to 45 days ago that have either applied or expressed their interest in the police department and joining us. Just to see all 3 of them withdraw basically the same day after they have learned the same type of information that you have learned in the public. So I just want to add that it puts us in a tricky situation going forward as far as recruitment efforts go, when that type of information is out there within the law enforcement community and the public.
Just for additional information, one is a resident on Pine Ridge and the other one is a resident on South Street. Both places that we don't want that information going out.
And that's all I have in addition to what's already been handed back.
Well, thank you for that. Segment there. That's pretty neat. That speed.
It has been making its way around town. It's currently out Ellisville. As people are coming into town. Right now, we're just moving it around. I'm waiting for the 6 signs to come off the grant. The holdup in that is in part of the policy that you will approve today that should make things better. Because of our expenses and the credit limit we have, these signs are coming from Amazon, and I have not been able to purchase them for a month now, even though I've been approved by the grant to purchase them, because they are bought on a credit card through Amazon. So hopefully, as soon as this payment makes it to Blue Ridge Bank, hopefully by Friday or so, or early next week, I'll be able to buy the other 6. That will be more on a permanent basis. The reason this one sign is moving around because it's not at its permanent location, so we're not attaching the solar to it, and therefore it only lasts about 2 days or so without the solar. So we've had it on West Street, we've had it here on Fredericksburg. It's currently on Ellisville, while it's kind of in an idle mode for right now, before we find a permanent solution for it.
Did we get the okay from VDOT to put it on their poster?
Not yet. I have been in communication with them even regarding the paving of the lines in front of the PD. But regardless, we'll get it done. Whether it's gonna be a little bit off the VDOT right away, or whether it's gonna be attached to the actual signage, it's really not gonna matter much. We'll get them posted one way or another, whether it's on VDOT existing poles, or I just briefly, not in detail, spoke with Mr. Larry. It won't take much. Let's say where it was on West Street, on the pole where it was attached, that's actually off VDOT right away. So it wouldn't take much to get them posted regardless. Just waiting for them literally to come in. Shipping's probably gonna take about 10 days or so. That's how long this one took. So I'm hoping by mid-August to have them out there, mid to late August at the latest, to have them out there.
But you're saying that delay older than was because their credit limit on their credit card wasn't good enough to be able to do it.
It is. Initially, the delay was in part of negotiating with the grant. There was literally silly back and forth, where even me putting it down to a penny what it would cost. Then I got a reply a few weeks later, if not a month later, that it needed to be around to the nearest number, even though it allowed them to put it over down to the penny. So that took a while negotiating it, but it was approved about 30 days ago. But because we had so many expenses, especially leading up to 4th of July, even though those expenses are going to be reimbursed to the town, needless to say, those costs were purchased, those items were purchased on a credit card. And like Ms. Dolman was saying, if we each have, currently we each have $25 spending limit per department head, that's 10,000.
2,500.
Did I say
$5.
2,500, that's 10,000. And then Mr. Terrell has 5,000, that's 15,000. But our credit limit is 15,000. And when we end up spending it, essentially until we pay the bill, which hopefully now will be faster, we have not been able to make any purchases for the past 2 weeks on our credit card. And same thing, we have been holding all purchases to include these signs. As soon as we pay the credit card bill, these signs I'm about to get are $3,000. So that's still gonna go on a credit card before it gets reimbursed by the grant. So now we have backlog of other purchases. But yes, for the past about 30 days, the signs have not been purchased because we didn't have the ability to purchase them.
So there's typically 2 months that are kind of built in on their credit card. So realistically, even though they have the $15,000 limit, they're really only getting purchasing power up to about 7,500 because they have to wait for you guys to approve the bills, pay it, to clear that off before the next one comes through.
Then the Parkinson's disease signs, his credit card can be jammed up.
Yeah. So good discussion for
Talk about that next month as well, the credit card.
I think,
Okay.
Public Works.
I just have a couple additional things that I filled out my application for my water license to take that test, so I'll play back that too, so I get certified in that.
that's the result of that course you took.
Yes, that's knowledge course. I got that filled out, and I just got the prototype version of that GIS I've been working on. Got that, you can fine tune some of the water lines, sewer lines on there. Well, and I'm pretty excited about it, working on for a while. So I can't wait to get that all cleaned up so I can share so you guys have access to that.
And again, congratulations on that scholarship.
Okay.
Very proud.
First day, I wasn't working.
Yes.
Yeah, that school was completely paid by.
Yeah, it's fully covered by DDH. Oh, I'm also working on a grant. DDH does like a construction and an engineering grant now that I'm started working on it. Most right now I'm finding documents fill it out and I'm planning on getting with the council and the committee about hoping to be able to get the money to place Ellisville. That's the area we just fixed with West and all that. Now we'll move all the creams out that's not about Ellisville, so that will make that whole later.
So, couple follow-up questions. You sent me very kindly, I appreciate the report on the I&I on the sewer system. And in the report, I've read it and it appears that there was supposed to be some camera deployments on certain parts of it to look for infiltration. And I know I sent you an email asking about it. Has that been done?
No, what happened is I saw it last one. I got the email. What happened was that they already confirmed that we had 8-inch lines. So
We had what?
all 8-inch lines.
Okay, was that?
They take like diameter loss.
Oh, okay, all 8-inch lines. Got
Yeah,
it.
so the camera they bought won't fit at 6 lines. So we got credit back on that because they couldn't get those lines.
Okay, so we cambered the 8-inch lines, but not the 6-inch lines.
Their camera will fit at 6 inch.
Right. I mean, because my reading of that report is if we fix the I&I, that's going to significantly help our capacity on the sewer lines.
I can tell you, Louisa, over every year, they're alternating between certain set of lines lining up or panels. So every year we're treating some kind of infiltration, depending on the area where we have panels, which I know we have ones that use the rehab, use grease. We have lines in areas that we know we have infiltration. From what last night I talked about I'm not here, I think for selling said it was done years ago. So we haven't done anything. I have since that
Since that report, since before the report.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, I know that we're in the middle of negotiating with the town and we're talking about capacity issues. And so there's nothing on the horizon right now to deal with the I&I.
I've gotten. It's something that we should definitely get into business with doing planning for because it just improves our food storage stuff and we'll definitely cut back on the flow. Because if we do have an I&I issue we don't know about, that could account for, like Ashley said, with heavy rains or ground saturation, that we would see an increased flow in that meter.
Well, I mean, I saw there were 4 major rain events cataloged in that report that you sent me.
Yeah, flow.
And all 4 rain events, I think there were 3 different sewer lines that were over 100% capacity.
Yeah,
In the rain events, and then and they didn't have the rain events, they were down in the 30% range.
Yeah.
So that significantly impacts.
I've got where that's coming from, just by where the flow meters were at, because the main area where I saw it before, where there's high is that trunk line.
Right.
And I'm thinking that's all coming still from that South Street actually, so South Street area.
Sure.
Because that line runs directly adjacent to creek. Some of it was treated, but some of it wasn't.
You're talking about zone 4.
Yeah.
On that report. Okay.
So
Are there grants available to help us with like reline sewer lines or raising manholes?
I can look into it. There's gotta be something. Yeah. Gotta be something. I'll look into a grant, see if we can get any grant thing for it. See, they're big on water lines, like DDH is big and OEW is big on water line grants, but sewer line for some reason, they're just not. They're not on there yet.
Creeping to the old timers. all were on here. When that report was done, was it a massive amount of money to reduce the I&I on the lines that I guess we sleeved them back in?
Yeah, so
They were sleeved. Was that a massive amount of money? Was it a grant then? Do you remember?
That would have been pre my time on council. So since my tenure on council, we knew that we had some infiltration problems, and so that's why we utilized the ARPA funds to get this reporting that we now have, so that we could then take the results from these reports and put them into capital projects, find the grant funding and things. And I would recommend that the Public Works Committee get back with CHA, because they might have some information on grants and things that are available as well. Because I know they were interested in potentially continuing work with us if we wanted them to try and work on projects and things once their initial analysis of the system was complete.
That's fine. I think no problem with the public works, but the sewer and water issues are a large enough issue that Madam Mayor, might be worthwhile to set up a committee for that. Because that's a big issue, as this council knows and the town manager knows, we're in the midst of negotiating water contracts. And we're also in the midst of development limitations countywide and in the town. And if we can use our own abilities to repair the sewer line to increase capacity, to give us options. I'm not saying we have to approve projects or anything, but it at least gives us options to have development if we want it, and it's voted on and approved by the town council. And so it'd be worthwhile, I think, because I think public works that's a really big topic.
Mhm.
And so if maybe we had a little more tailored committee just to deal with the water and sewer, that might be worthwhile.
Yeah, I can certainly do that. That is allowable, that we can pull out and do a kind of ad hoc PRN, whatever we want to say, committee. You know, when we were consolidating them, it really was because there were so many committees that it just felt like people were meeting all the time. But just given the amount of projects that we have had with water and sewer. Yes, Brent?
Oh, just since we're talking about projects, I'm in the process of getting that quote. Companies, we've got a leak on Main Street. We've been 4 or 5 times in, it just keeps breaking. So instead of us digging up Main Street, I think it'd be safer and better for the public if we board and sleep across and place that line from it.
That's not sewer, that's what I'm talking
That's not really getting board line, because we fixed it last Sunday and sleep in there.
Yeah, so I'm allowed to just do that, right? Set up an ad hoc committee. Okay. And then I specifically for water and sewer, I do agree that we should probably move forward with that. And then if you can just let me, I can email everyone by the end of the week with who will be on that committee. I just need 2 people. Just want to look at load sharing on where everyone's at. We will go ahead and create an ad hoc water sewer committee to help with these projects right now.
We have the final CHA report. Get that?
Yeah, but preliminary, you still doing board. It's like the hydro lake model. That's the last piece for whole model. Then they should submit the final report to council very soon. I just got done talking. It seems like a pretty still really active work by hydraulic model. Like anything I asked for information about the documents, I didn't know that stating for subsidies that have up on line that they got it. It's not like it's
But which of those reports would have the I?
like exactly. It'd be hard. We got the camera one, just to see exactly what I do believe part of that line that goes to the creek was one of the line on South Street. But it's got to be that zone board, it's not that meter that spike like that.
That's the one we need that report. So, I mean, final.
That is the different form. I didn't center that.
It was,
Yeah, I see you.
yeah, I remember that, seeing. All right, we'll pull that back up.
Jeff, anything from legal?
No, ma'am.
Rusty's paying attention. Look at him. All right, Clerk,
Nothing additional to
we're
report.
gonna have to change that. Amy,
Probably, so it looks like.
treasurer?
And nothing to have aside that, I do have a question about the bill pay. Just want to make sure I want you guys correctly. Besides the list of who I'm paying and the line items that each getting pulled into, is there anything else you want additional to the bill?
I would say we can start with that and see if there's anything as we start reviewing it that looks like it needs to be added. But I think from the kind of see the report, what it looks like. I don't know of anything necessarily that I would want to see, but there isn't either without actually. That detail.
I can scan the bill. Okay. I can scan the bills as I send them, you know. Just look at the traffic report at the end,
Right.
they will meet, so that'll happen.
Yeah,
Do you want that in the weekly report too?
know that we need it week. But
Yeah, I think she's talking about the weekly. She's gonna send you.
let's look at it. We'll go from there. But I think that's a great start.
And Tanya?
We've already passed this, but I wanted to say, it, and we got to go off on something else, but you've completed a project in your report. A substantial thing total. And it's just one set of thank you. That's a very good job. You got it done. And you also cut the budget. I mean, roughly in half. So that's
Yes, when that was rolled out, sir, that was basically, I think it was May's meeting, and it was almost one of the placeholder. To be able to do it in the budget year, I was seeking for, by no means was I gonna proceed just with that one quote. In order to get it done still within the budget year, that still had room for that kind of repair. That is why I was asking for the allocation of those funds, but by no means was that gonna be the only. I ended up, I think, with a total of 4 quotes, altogether, resulting in about $7,000 worth of savings. Yeah, in comparison to.
yeah, it's a great.
So that was the intent of that in May, just for you guys to approve to that amount.
Town manager?
Okay, let me move to this quickly. Water main replacement projects, we're coming to the end. And you see the, bill pay tonight brings us about to 99% of the contract with the 5% retention, retainage still about 54,000 in that. So that's coming to an end, but still requires VDOT inspection. Nothing is gonna be, no final payments can be approved until VDOT inspect. That all the remediation work is done. And we're not there yet, and so I've got to set up a meeting with USDA to make sure we're on the timeline, the correct timeline, because there is a date for the project to conclude sometime in August. I'm gonna set that meeting up for Friday to make sure we're sticking to the timeline. The project is not over. That's my point. There's still work done to complete it. So we're on that. As Mr. Larry pointed out, he's pursuing VDH grants for the transite line replacement. Right, you're working.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's working on grants there. And add to the list with the urgency of the water sewer capacity, we can add the sewer grants in there.
Yeah, I'll report and start. Once I've done the interview, start identify what's coming from.
We'll pull up the CHA report. We already talked about the Meadows Avenue. The gentleman did come in and pay his share of the installation costs. with this check bouncing fee paid. That project's gonna allow upgrade the overall water system with the looping system that has valve control that'll give us more redundancy in the system and the hydrants. The LCWA water agreement, we're working on that. That's gonna be a critical discussion. Sure, we have adequate water capacity.
Question on that.
Sure.
Does that, water capacity also include sewer capacity, or is that just water only? This particular comment.
Yeah, the water contract, I think it's water specific. So, let's start there, because that expired in 2014. So, we need to get that one. But appreciate everyone's collaborative approach and looking on that, so we'll get there. The VDOT meeting, Mr. Larry and I have, I think, and the mayor, have really opened the door with VDOT. We have a new resident engineer who seems more open to our needs, and we're meeting more regularly. There is a road servicing project scheduled for mid to late August with the thermoplastic crosswalks.
I'm excited about
Yeah. And the downtown will, with the resurfacing, is gonna look so much cleaner and nicer. It has an amazing appearance for the town.
The thermoplastic actually has an 8-second increase in visibility at 30 miles per hour.
Yeah.
So from a safety standpoint, so much better for our citizens. And we were able to discuss with VDOT that it's part of the budget. It's not in, the town is not incurring any costs for that thermoplastic placement, which is really exciting for everyone.
So all of our conversations with them, we start to understand our needs. Building a relationship, a good relationship. But that's gonna be exciting. The quality of life, I think, it's not just safety, but the appearance of the downtown. Whereas it can look deteriorated with the old road, will actually improve. Okay, so that's positive. The police chief mentioned that he's got this grant for the 6 new speed detection devices. He's got one out there. Although somebody keeps trying to get in there and play with the wire. I've got to figure out how to try to dismantle the thing. But we're going to get 6 positioned around the town. Speeding is something that's endemic in society now, but it needs to not cross our town boundaries. Next, a good job, Chief, of that. Community events, I think the 4th of July was a success, even with the rain. I think the fairgrounds is re-energized now. Excuse me, we talked about this in our goal setting meeting in January about more community events. So I think that's a really positive, help build community spirit. Let's see, finally, I do want to set up a meeting with Countryside because I think the solution there is not going to be just policing. I think it's going to be a partnership with the community, making sure doors are locked and perhaps lighting. We talked about the light. So please, I keep talking to Ms. Palmer, give me a date. I'm happy to go there with the police chief and we'll work it out. So it'll be a partnership. And finally, I hear you, Councilor Craig, on the website language. It's really more like a mission statement. I thought about that. Who should control the language on the website? What I would propose is we take the current language and do one of those track change things and just send it around. Let everybody have a crack at what they think should be on the website. I hear you loud and clear. There's a political undertone to that word, but I think we should approach it as a group mission statement. What is the mission statement we want on the website? And then we let everybody put their thoughts into it. It's just what else.
Last question. Greg, what does it say? I don't know what it says.
It says it's a progressive something community. Progressive is not what I would describe the town of Louisa as
Yes. In that accessory.
in political sense.
All right, and finally, we'll be off the next 3 days, but I'll be checking my phone and
Golf course on Main Street, I think. They're pretty- I think that concludes that. We have a motion for closed session.
I do move that we go to closed session, yes. Although I think I'm gonna have to step out for the first part. Did you get it?
We have to be the language.
I need to read it.
You make a motion.
Okay.
Sorry, you know what the biggest thing is.
In accordance with Virginia Code Section 2.2 3711 A1 of the Code of Virginia, Town Council convened in closed session to discuss personnel matters regarding performance evaluation or job assignments of specific employees, and pursuant to 2.2 3711 A7 of the Code of Virginia to discuss the pending litigation of Moore et al. The Town of Louisa, and I move that we do the second part first.
Second? Second. Any discussion? Oh,
Ms. Hart. Oh, I'm sorry. Four. Mr. Henry.
Four.
Mr. Craig.
Four.
Mr. Purcell.
Four.
we're gonna go ahead and move into closed session.
Jack, please put that, checking that all this and, you might have to call for action telephone. Instead of-
Okay, that's right. Gonna do it again. Just in case. Closed meeting is concluded, now back in open session. The next item in this is just a certification of the closed meeting. Virginia. So. Vote. To the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from the open meeting requirements under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and only those public business matters identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered in the closed meeting. Is there a motion to do that?
Check with us.
Go ahead and call roll.
Ms. Hart. Four. Ms. Rigby. Four. Mr. Henry.
Four.
Mr. Craig.
Four.
Mr. Purcell.
Four.
Closed meeting is certified, and we'll go ahead and proceed with the last item on the agenda. Adjournment.
Second. I'm sorry.
I believe you have one
You
action.
have a motion and a second.
Oh, wait,
so
hold on.
we have-
Yeah, Jeff's talking.
Yes, Jeff.
Did you decide not to take an action? I just sent you something, Madam Mayor.
I think we currently have a motion and a second on the table, so we would have to, because I did. You did get a second. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll send my motion.
We do need to discuss if council would like to go ahead and approve moving forward with potential negotiations with the Berkeley Group for internet manager services. Yes. There's a motion.
So currently have two of my families that are living around the town. So, and for construction. So I just wanted to let you know that, we were about to see a bigger influx into town because all the Louisa people come right back. So I'm just giving you a heads up.
Action, okay.
That was it.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks.